one building, some scattered pottery. Have you heard about Lamelech?
Yes.
The imprints, the seals that have Lamelech.
Yes.
A few Lamelech here, which means that there was a bit of an administration, but not a big one, and only from the 8th century BCE. Chizkiyahu, exactly, Hezekiah, getting ready for the rebellion. There is a destruction layer from the days of Lachish as well, just the Assyrians and then the Babylonians. And then this area becomes empty. Now what happens with empty areas? It was a Judean area and now it's empty during the Babylonian times.
More people will come.
Of course more people will come. It's already built. It's a nice area to live in. You've got the caves. It's really, really comfortable. Place to grow your food. Lots of olive presses. It's a great place to live in. Who will come in? Adumanians. So they're being pushed from their own territories. Let's see if I can take my map out here because we're a little bit... Just to make it a little bit more... Can I go here and you want to go in? Idomenians, the Idomenian kingdom starts over here in this area of the Jordan mountains. I can send you everything as a PDF at the end, no worries. It starts over here. At some point they're being pushed out of their territories. Who pushes them out?
The Babylonians after the rebellion.
Not the Babylonians.
The
They're a
Assyrians.
very
Persian.
new nation at this point. We will call them Nabateans.
Nabatean,
later on.
oh.
They come from here and they start pushing them north, but to the north they have the Moabians. So at this point they go into this vacuum because the Judeans are taken to Babylon and this is pretty empty. So they're being pushed here. They started the Arava. Did you do Eilat campus already? No. So you will visit probably a place called Metzad. Not Masada, right over here at the center of the Arava. There's a place that today has a cute crocodile farm. But used to in ancient times have an Adomanian kingdom. You find a lot of the evidence of them over here. So they ruled over this entire area and slowly they come up north here. And Marsha, being the northern border of their territory, becomes the capital. So the first people that you'll find over here are Edominians because this is the northern border. This is where they want to have...
Is this relevant? If I knew, I brought this map.
It is. It's pretty much this.
Yes.
Just in English.
Yes.
So send your version. I can send you this one. It's in Hebrew. But it's the same. It's the people that used to live here. I'm not gonna... No need for this point. But we'll stay with this one. Adominians. Adominians are the most majority of people. Persian times comes after Babylonians. What happens during the Persian times in this area?
They sent back the Jewish after
They sent back
70
the
years.
Jews and other people in the Persian times. Basically, the Persians are saying something like, we don't want rebellions, so we prefer everybody goes back to their homelands, builds their temples, and just, don't
By
fight
Cyrus.
us. Exactly. By Cyrus, already
Then we
the
have
scrolls.
the Aliyah of Ezra and Nehemiah.
Exactly, so you're studying for the test. You know what, we'll do a lot of repeats for the test today. It's a good option because it's classical site. By Persian times, people come back. Of course, most of the Jews go back to Jerusalem and to the Judean mountains that are around Jerusalem. The first Persian movements of Jews are very small. And throughout the...
40,000.
Exactly, but it goes in waves and more people come. At some points, they reach this area as well. They don't go to Marsha. There's sort of a border that Marsha stands for that says this is Adominian, this is a cosmopolitical city, and this is the Judea area. So during Persian and then Hellenistic times, Marsha will become the city that you go into if you want to be Greek, Phoenician, Edomite, anything that's not Jewish. You want to be a part of the Judeans, you go to Marsha. It's a cosmopolitical city. You can be whatever you want. So the Idomenians are the majority during Persian times. During Persian times, we also have Phoenicians coming in for the simple reasons that Phoenicians were allies of the Persians. They were at war against the Greeks, and the Phoenicians applied their knowledge of sea warfare to help the Persians. As a gift, this is where the Phoenicians come from originally, right? They come from Lebanon, from Sidon, from Sur, and the Persians allow them to build their cities along the shorelines of Israel. So at some point you'll find one in Akko,
Apollonia.
Haifa, Apollonia is, you have Caesarea before, this was a Phoenician city before Caesarea, and so on until Gaza basically. And then going in here, there were a few inland cities for the Phoenicians. Marsha was one of them, one of the biggest ones. Why? Because it was easy for a Phoenician to feel comfortable with Edomites and they were both Semitic nations. And later on, when the Greeks come during Hellenistic times, it will become the classical city to be Greek in. So at this point, we're talking about the highlight of Marsha. We're talking about the 2nd and the 3rd centuries, Hellenistic time. It will be Greek, Phoenician, and Edomites. These are the majority of people. If you wanted to be a foreigner in Judea, this will be the place to go into.
Also Samaritans.
It becomes Samaritans as well at some point when they're pushed out of their areas. But in very small percentage. If you're Samaritan, the nicer area for you would be Yavne.
To the north.
Yavne, Yam, that area. There are specific areas where you can find them. Marsha becomes the biggest during Hellenistic times. This is actually where the armies that prepare to fight against the Hashmonite family align, right? They prepare over here, they go out to fight. Now we have during Hellenistic times 2 rulers. The first period is
Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Macedon, right? After he dies, there's a war
Ptolemies and the
between Diodox.
Ptolemies and the Sadducees.
So the first one is the Talmai family.
Yes.
Talmai family comes from Egypt, and they rule over this area because this is the road to Egypt, right? This is the easiest
That's right.
road. They rule here for the longest time, and then we have Seleucids from Syria.
come from
that
Syria,
come over
from-
here. Different time periods, and we see differences in the archaeology of Marsha and the people over here. But this is a good area to rule. It leads you to the road to the sea and to Jerusalem, and it's right in the middle. Fighting against the Hashmonite family, this became a center of attacks because this is where the army is, this is where the Greeks are, and even if you have Samaritans here or even Jews, they usually were Hellenistic Jews. You know, the kind that will call themselves Matityahu, which was something that the Hashmonite family was fighting against. We'll talk about it more when it's relevant today. But with the first really big destruction of Marsha happens at the year 112. This is when John Hyrcanus, one of the great kings of the Hashmonites, decides he wants to
Revolt.
enlarge his kingdom. At this point, he's gonna take over Marsha, and everyone here that's not Jewish will have to choose if they stay Jewish or leave, and then you get the bigger Hashmonite kingdom that includes also Marsha and the northern Negev area.
They have to be
There will
circumcision.
still
huh?
be yeah, we'll talk about that. It's a big question.
What was the name?
John Hyrcanus. I promise everything I say now, I will say again in more detail. This is just to give us a timeline. Year 40, a big fight between Herods and Matityahu Antigonus from Persia. And again, this is the battle zone, which means that at this point it wasn't a Jewish city. It was still a bridge between cultures where everybody fought. 40 is a destruction. There's still a little bit of remains. It's very scarce. Completely destroyed by the 2nd century AD. Is it not raining?
Yes, we could.
So can we do a bit of a walk from outside the rain?